Hello everybody and welcome to today's class on the writing book, Essence of Writing. So we're on to Unit 4. Unit 4, the best unit? Maybe yes, maybe no. But as you know, definition is the title. So you need to be around page number 80, looking around this part. So make sure you have your book ready, make sure you're ready to go through each one, and make sure you just try your best. Because at the end of the day, that's all I care about. Try your best. So if you remember, the writing book is just going to be about how to learn the basics of writing, coming to university. Hopefully units 1 to 3 have been easy. So let's try to do the next part. So don't worry, don't stress, try your best. So let's go. As always, we go through and talk about, writing. Unit 4 is on about page number 80. So it's there starting on 79, and we're going to work our way through, and we're going to try and do as much as we can. So remember, just try your best. And as always, I'll explain about the definition, which is the title of today's subject. I'll go through, examples, how we write them and look at them. So I'll explain about it to begin with, and then we'll do some examples. And then finally, we'll do the feedback, looking at some writing and how to improve that writing. Hopefully, it'll be super easy. And you'll just follow this video and write in the answers, and then we're all perfect. Okay? So, what are these quotes trying to say? So, they have two quotes always at the beginning. So on page 80, forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. That's the first quote. And the second one, the beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. What are they trying to say? Obviously, what they're trying to do is explain about how we define things, how we look at things, and how we, give the meaning to those words, and how we give the meanings to those things. So that is the unit. That is what we're looking at today, definition. Alright, so on the next part, on the warm-up, it says, what is a digital nomad? Think about this and explain in your book. So in your textbook on 81, there is a page under there. You can see you can write your answer here. Maybe you have the writing book, maybe you don't. But what is a digital nomad? So just think about it and write it in a way. Like, that's all you can do. So pause me, and we're good to go. You've probably written down many things. Digital nomad is somebody who's maybe a blogger, vlogger, writer, somebody who goes around the world using the notebook and, writing things, commenting on things, maybe doing poetry, maybe, doing many things. So digital nomad is somebody who uses technology and moves around. So digital nomad. Nomad means no house. So it means somebody who maybe goes around. Different definitions from different people. And that is the whole point of this topic. We all have different ideas on what things mean. So this is a definition. So as I said, that's exactly what it is. We all have a different definition of what is a digital nomad. We all have different meanings, and that is definition. Some terms have a concrete meaning, exact meaning, but other words are more abstract meaning, so they need to have an extended definition. Abstract means it's not clear. The way you think and the way that somebody else thinks can be different. So then we have different methods of thinking about things, different ways of understanding things. That is abstract. So we have lots of abstract thinking, like different thinking, strange thinking sometimes, but that's the meaning. How do we make our own things? How we decide our own definitions? So as you can see, we have different ones. For example, here it says cloud, Apple book, computer. These are easy to make an understanding, a concrete meaning. What is an apple? It's a fruit. Like that. Maybe that's your definition. It's a very simple definition. But maybe that's the easy way. But that's not just an apple, right? There's other ways to describe it. Book, computer. There are ways to define them. Whereas courage, love, peace, justice. These are all abstract. They have different meanings. What is love to me is different for you. Maybe you think love is something, and then I have another opinion about what is love. So you can see there are many different ways that people think. So we have some things that we can easily say, what is it? And that's the concrete meaning. Whereas other ones have an abstract meaning. And those are the differences between them. How do we use definition? So in college and university life, many people need to define something. So it's a common task, writing an essay about defining some key words or things from university. What is naturalism? What is multiculturalism? What is stagflation? So we have economics, we have, anthropology, and we have, social problems, social society classes. All of these talk about different definitions of words and things we need to know. So we use this in university. We have lots of different definitions on jobs because we need to know what is a healthy tooth or healthy teeth. For the definition, that's a healthy tooth, then you can go home. You finished at the dentist. But maybe it's not healthy. So you have a problem. You have cavity or you have to change something. So these are things that we have to know. We have to know about definitions. So we can do our job and we can do our university studies. Sometimes we run into situations when we need to define what you want to say. Like we require you to define exactly. Awesome? Are you sure that's awesome? So maybe you're like, oh, awesome. And then you get it back and you get a C+, and that's not awesome. Or you get a D, and that's not awesome. So we have to make sure that we have to clarify and explain to people what we mean. So that's definition. Now, on page number 83, they have quite a few words that explain about definition strategies. And the first thing is when you present it, you need to give a clear definition. So present your clear definition. Present the word as what it means to you, not just the dictionary. That's a key point. So it's not about the dictionary. The dictionary meaning is a real meaning for everybody, a generic meaning. But when we're writing an essay or explaining, we want to give it as it is to us. So not as another person's point of view, not the dictionary, because we all can check a dictionary and know the meaning. We want it for you. So, next point. There are different strategies to give it, and there are 3. The first one is called a formal definition, and it is just the way that we explain something from the dictionary. So, dictionary definition of dad is right there in Korean. You can see it. It's easy to understand. No problem. That's the way to do it. Number 2. Number 2 is stipulative. And if you remember, we use stipulative definitions to convince people about how to do something. And so we use stipulative in a way that kind of explains the right meanings for us. So stipulative would make sure that the reader understands exactly how you want to use this term. So we can use stipulative to explain about things in a way that, people can understand easily. So not abstract in a strange way, but in a way that, we can maybe follow. And the last one is an extended definition. An extended definition is when you want to go past the dictionary and try to explain it in a way that makes it very poignant to that person, significant to the writer. So I write about something and I want to show like a private meaning, my own feelings about this and how that affects me. So maybe we would use this when we want to give a lot of emotion and associate with a experience that you've had personally. This would be an extended definition. So we have 3 main ones. When you want to do it, you have to remember you always want to have your topic sentence write a definition of the word. So at the start, you're going to write what is your definition of the topic, whatever you're talking about, not just the dictionary word. So don't just write a dictionary, you want to write personalized to you. So the topic sentence will describe it to you. The next one, the main body is where you talk about the definition. And you can use different style, like we've studied before, narrative style, like a storytelling style. You can use compare and contrast when you're looking at different kinds of styles. But usually we do it in a more personalized example style where we write about something that we know. So we usually write more like a narrative style and give like extended definitions where we explain in detail about personal things. So as I said, when we do it, we usually talk about different ways. So one, the formal definition like a dictionary. Number two, stipulative, where we use the definition in another way, not usually used in that way. So to love someone is to be willing to die for that person. That's a very extreme way. So a stipulative definition is another way that people use that. Think of it as a way to use a word slightly differently, a little bit abstract, a little bit different than usual. The next one is the extended definition, and that's when we associate the private and personal experiences, like telling a story about something, so people can understand the definition that we've got. So those are the three, okay? Formal, dictionary, stipulative, using it in a slightly different way than what we've said before, but we're writing about it so that people can understand it in a slightly abstract, different way. And number three, the extended definition, where we use private and personal experiences so that people can understand. Easy, right? Maybe you followed it, we're okay? So what we're going to do is the pre-reading. So that's on page number 84. So I want you to look at the information and the graphics, the pictures in the infographic, and what do you think it means? So just write down what you think this is all about. Now, some of you might not have the book, as I said, but some of you do. But the big hints are always look at the title. The title is always going to explain about like what he's talking about. In an infographic, the heading will also give some hints as well. So it says writing a shard of life. That's the topic. So we know it's about writing, right? It says writing, so we know. Then it has teacher A, B, and C. So we know that maybe it's going to be personal, like extended definition where he's talking about people he knows, but we don't know yet. And then there's other things on there. So look carefully at the pictures, look at the writing, and just have a guess. So pause me here. And hopefully you've had a quick read through and you understand a little bit what they're talking about. Now, after we go on to the next page, so that's 86, they have the full text. And we need to just write down what we think the paragraph is about after just looking at the title. So the title says writing, a shard of life. So we know that it's about writing. A shard of life, that's abstract. We don't know what that's going to be relating to, but it says life. So it might be about his life as a writer, life as writing, like there's many things it could be. But we think we know it's going to be about writing. So, I want you to make sure that you answer just the following questions. What is the paragraph about? Number one. So, something about writing. Number two, find the topic sentence and write it below. Remember, the topic sentence is going to explain what is the definition. This is a definition essay. So in there, it's going to say maybe dictionary, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about the dictionary. We care about his opinion about writing. So find the topic sentence where he explains his definition of writing. How is the writing organized? Is there a topic sentence? Is it narrative style? Is it comparison style? Is there a conclusion? Just look for some simple things in this writing style. How is it organized? What examples does he use to support his definition of writing? That's question number 4. And this question is not so difficult. Just look at the examples. And on the infographic, we saw teacher ABC. So maybe that's going to help us. And the last one, do you think the infographic shows the text well? So that's actually question number 6. I skipped number 5. I'll explain 5, but number 6, okay? So pause me now, and hopefully you're finished. Some of you, hopefully you saw all this text. There's a lot of text, but we'll go through it one by one. First of all, what's the paragraph about? It's about the meaning of writing for the writer. The real meaning of writing for him or her. That's not for me or you, for them. So this is the real meaning of writing for them. Next one, find the topic sentence and write it below. Writing is one's. One's means mine, me. Writing is one's philosophy, beliefs or joy, anger, secret or doubt. It is one's life itself when a writer takes it genuinely. Yes. Okay, next one. How is the writing organized? The writer uses examples to support his or her definition. They start with the topic sentence. They give a slightly stipulative definition that's abstract. Then he gives extended definitions where he explains about the people who he knows, the personal experience, and then he gives a conclusion about it all. He compares the 3 teachers and uses a narrative style as he talks about them. It says he or she. So it's a story style, and they go through it like that. So that's how they structure this part. What examples does he use? He uses a dictionary one. He uses a stipulative one. And he uses an extended one. That's how he writes it at the beginning. So what examples does he use? Well, he says, well, there's a dictionary example, where he says what is writing. But that's not the answer. He gives a stipulative one, where he gives an abstract view of writing for him in his topic sentence like that. And then number 3 is the real examples, where he gives the 3 teachers he knows, and he uses A, B, and C, and talks about how they are different and how they became writers, writing like this. And the final question that I asked you to do was about the infographic. The pictures are not related to the text about writing, but they are related to the people. So if you saw it at first, it might be a little bit confusing because you'd be like, why is this? So for me, having small pictures that doesn't match with writing might seem strange. So you could have different pictures, but when you read it in detail, you can see that they are talking about the different people, so then it works. The text and font are at slightly odd points in there, and so it's a little bit hard to read, but the title is good. The texts for the headings are good, but in the little bit of writing that they do have, it's a little bit too much for an infographic for me. Infographic should be a little bit more simpler. So underneath writing a shot of life, they have a little bit too much writing there. But the other ones talking about the teachers and the conclusions, these kind of things, talking about it is good. And at the end, he gives a little bit of a stipulative definition of writing, where he says a piece of writing contains the essence of a person, as a drop of water can contain the image of the sun. Okay, and now on to the next part. The next part of this class is talking about brainstorm, making your own idea. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about your major class. And I want you to try to think of a term that are widely used in your majors. And I want you to make a list of those terms and choose one that you want to try to explain the most to other people. So maybe you're studying environmental sciences, and you just think of some words that are common in your major. Or maybe you're studying chemistry, so you want to study or explain about microbiology. These kind of things are what you need to want to explain to other people. So when explaining the word, keep in mind the 3 points. 1. Show it instead of explaining it. 2. Explain it as you would to people who do not know your major or discipline. 3. Provide understandable examples. So make sure you can give an example of those. Now, this is not easy. So try to spend a few minutes thinking about some term and definitions within your major that you can explain. So pause me now. And we're ready to get on to the next one. So I'm going to try to explain some so you can see an example. Tentative title. What is education? I'm a teacher. So what is education? Number 2. Definition of the term. The definition. We're defining the term. So education is not only a fertilizer that helps a tree bear priceless fruits, but also a fruit born to create future generations. It sounds so sweet. Not something Fraser would say. Remember that, okay? Next one. Example 1. It says give some examples. So the first example, a tree is able to grow well and bear good fruit depending on the quality of a fertilizer. So, like if you give it good things, it can grow well. Likewise, through proper education, a person can become a respected one with a lot of great accomplishments. So if you study hard and do things well with your education, you'll become a great person. Second example. Fruits can be used as a good food resource to others and give birth to another life or future generations by spreading seeds inside of them. So fruit has a seed. We can spread the seeds around and then they can grow. Therefore, if a person is well educated, then the person will be able to be a better stepping stone to the next generation. They're going to spread and grow and provide people with knowledge in different parts. So that's the first part. Now we're going on to the next one, looking at the infographic for here, and you can see it on the page there. Does the infographic demonstrate the text effectively? What do you think? So just look at it. They're trying to explain what is an apology, like the definition of apology. You can write down anything you want. So pause me now. And as you can see, it actually has an answer at the bottom. But just look at it and think, does it show? And you write, yes, I think it does. The infographic shows what the writer wants to explain with the thought bubbles. However, there are mistakes in the text. Yes, there's grammar and spelling, not spelling, just grammar errors in there. So just be careful. So sure, they want to define apology. He's saying, oh, I was really sorry. But then the other person is like, are you really saying sorry? Or is it, there's no emotion? So, they want to define what it is. Now we're going to do more feedback. The first part of the feedback is the writing. So, bam. You can see the text. I've put it on here for you so you can see it. Remember, we're going to look for 3 things. There's 3 parts to this question. Number 1, what kind of errors can you find in the text? Number 2, how can you categorize the errors? So what kind of errors do you find? So you can write down the kind. So we've done this before. And the next one, what ways could you tell them to improve their writing? How could you help them? Feedback. Give them the feedback so they can be a better writer. So pause me now. And we're ready to start. So kinds of errors that you can see. The errors that you can see are put down here. So I've put them in red, so you can pause me and write the answers in your book. You've done it, pause me, you've written the answers, so let's go through it. So let's go through the errors that you can see, the kind of errors that are there, how can we categorize them? So the first kind, article and definitive article are missing. So if I move me around, I can maybe make me smaller even. Tiny phrase, oh, here we are, yeah. That's small, but I'm still high. So you can see A victim, the inflictor, the same. So article and definitive article have been missing. Missing words. So something is missing. The second kind. Apologize is to the victim. One's own wrong. So we're missing words. Punctuation mark. We need a comma. And double quotation mark. This is like printing error. So it should be quotation for this. So this part here is an error still. So it's double quotation marks. We have punctuation errors. All right, as you can see, the next one, we actually have a slight construction error in the way that we make it. So living in a modern society, So we have extra words that we don't need. They're kind of, changing the meaning of the sentence a little bit, and we can get rid of the redundant words in this case. Next one, conjunction. So I think, therefore, comma, I think that the apology is. So we have a conjunction error. We've used the wrong word. So no, therefore. So as you can see, these last two are changing slightly. One because of redundancy, like extra word, and this one just slightly different, wrong word choice, but it's giving the wrong conjunction meaning. So let's go on to the next part. Think about the most possible effective way to talk to them. Send them an email. Now, we're going on to the next one. Be concise. So the idea is, as I showed before, sometimes we want to get rid of words to make it concise. We have redundancy. So if you remember here, we have this word, we don't need it. It's extra. So we want to be concise. So don't use extra words like meaningless expressions in a sentence. Many times people and students use kind of or certain, first and foremost, hope and desires, free. This kind of thing are expressions that we don't need in academic writing, especially for when we're doing a definition essay. Okay, so let's go to the next part about being concise. So look at the sentence. I want you to analyze it and then revise it. So look at the sentence. If and when our company can clarify its goals and purposes, each and every employee is likely to better concentrate on his or her own work. So we want to make it shorter. We want to make it more concise. So pause me now, and hopefully you've looked at it, analyzed it, made some changes to it. That's the revision. So let's go through it step by step. The first one, let's analyze. If and when, condense to just if. Each and every, just every. So the first example is going to look like this. If our company can clarify its goals, every employee is likely to better concentrate on his or her own work. We've got rid of some extra words, but we've kept the meaning. Okay, so we didn't want to change the meaning, but we got rid of the excess, the extra. Let's go to number 2. Again, look at this one. Try to think of any changes that we can make, like get rid of some word, and then we can make it perfect. Now, remember, they are getting harder. So number 1 is easy, number 2 is a little bit more, number 3, okay? So pause me now. Let's do this. You got it? So you've analyzed. What could we change? So, during his college years, we don't need the period. Next one, just skinny is fine. And the last one, just healthy. So if we revise this, we condense it down. During his college years, he was skinny, but now he looks healthy. Same meaning. Perfect. All right, you got it right. Good job. Final one. We have one more to go. It is certainly the case that politicians tend to pay more attention to populism rather than the public's real concerns to win an election. So, same again. Make it perfect. Take out some words. So, pause me now. Let's do it. So, the first ones, let's go through it. What can we delete? What can we get rid of? Maybe there's a couple of things that we think like we don't need that. So in the first one, it is certain that. Populism, the people's real concern. So in this case, we can cut it all down just to say populism like this. So in this case, it is certain that politicians tend to pay more attention to populism to win an election. Would be the correct form to concise, condense it down and make it smaller. I know you got the right answer because you're perfect. So let's move on to the final part. We just have the checklist. How do we make sure our definition essays are correct? So, do you have lots of examples, to make people understand your definition? Giving personal examples, giving people the understanding to make sure that they know it by giving them something they can understand. Like in the text they said about like the teachers. The next one. Do you have a topic sentence? It's very important. You want to define the term clearly at the beginning. Say what you're talking about and give your definition. Do you end your paragraph with a concluding sentence? You have to conclude your work always. So hopefully you've concluded it. Next one. Do you use various sentence structures like to make it to construct it? Complex ones and compound sentences like this. And do you avoid grammatical errors? These are what we need, right? We want to make sure that we miss out the errors, skip those, change them, correct them, so that we can understand it. So be careful about your grammatical errors. Alright everybody, and that's it for today. You've all done a great job with the writing book, but I think it's time that we all, used our Harry Potter magic to get rid of the book for today. So, Reducio! Oh my god, I got rid of it again. It's perfect. I am going to Hogwarts for sure. So hopefully you will see me in, Hogwarts, maybe as a teacher, maybe as a student, maybe I'm Harry Potter. We don't know. Oh, wait a minute. I have no lightning mark. Anyway, I'll see you next week. So take care and goodbye, everybody.